Hello students, hope you are doing well. You are also studying well during this lockdown. Alright, welcome to this video. So today we'll be discussing about cumulative frequencies. Before we go for today's concept, a quick recap of the previous video, what we had spoken about in the last video. We had spoken about bivariate frequency distribution table in the last video, where values for two variables are given which are related to each other and their frequency distribution into one common table is constructed, and there we are able to see the points of similarities and dissimilarities. So that we had discussed about in the last video. Alright. Okay, so today we'll discuss about cumulative frequency. So let me first take an example. So here I have class intervals along with their frequency distribution given. Now class are always having a convenient width. So here I am going to have total 5 classes, and then the last class is 25 to 30. So this is the total range from 5 to 30. Okay, and then for each class the frequency is given in this way: 7, 12, 18, 8, 5. So there are 7 values between 5 and 10, there are 12 values between 10 and 5, then 18, and this way. So this is the given data. Now first let me calculate the total frequency. So for the total frequency, 7 plus 2, 9 plus 8, 17 plus 8, 25, 30, okay. So 50. So there are total 50 values distributed from 5 to 30. So this is the total distribution of 50 values from 5 to 30. And in this way the distribution is given. Okay, so now what if the question is asked, how many values are there which are more than 20 and how many values are there which are less than 20? So I have got only one partition in the total distribution, that is 20. So how many values are there which are less than 20 and how many values are there which are more than 20? So now how will you calculate this particular thing? Because directly what we have got the data is it in this form. We don't have all the 50 items. We have the frequencies of the items, which is total 50. So we need to find out how many values are there which are more than 20 and how many less than 20. Now consider the first class, that is 5 to 10, there are 7 values, then 12 and then 18. Okay, so now we know that this distribution is with upper limit excluded. Okay, so that means what? These 7 values are there between 5 to 10, where 10 is excluded. So actually 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 is considered in the next class. So 12 values are there between 10 and 15, where it includes actually only 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And similarly 18 values are there which are actually between 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 20 is not considered. So you can say these all 18 values are less than 20. Yes, these all 18 values are less than 20. Okay, then what about the previous 12 and 7 values? Now these 12 values, they are between 10 and 15. Definitely they are less than 20. Also these 7 values are less than 20. So altogether 7 plus 12 plus 18. So this gives me 37. So there are 37 values which are less than 20. So 37 values are there which are less than 20. Okay, now how will you calculate the values which are more than 20? So now it's very much clear. We know there are 50 total values, and if you 37, if you subtract from 50 you get 13, and also if you add these two, that is 8 plus 5, 13. So there are 13 values which are more than 20. So now here we need to consider one thing, that these 8 values which are between 20 and 25 are actually between 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and it is including 20. So these 13 values, all of them cannot be more than 20. Some of them could be equal to 20. So these 13 values, we can technically in the correct way you can say 13 values are more than or equal to 20. So this is how one particular partition in the entire distribution, and you are able to find out the values which are less than one particular value or limit, values which are more than one particular limit from the total distribution. So this kind of frequency which gives you the value which are less than one particular limit of the total distribution is called as the less than cumulative frequency, and the value which is giving you the number of values of the total distribution more than one particular limit are called as the more than cumulative frequency. So basically there are two types of cumulative frequency. One is less than cumulative frequency, another is more than cumulative frequency. Now for this entire distribution I can have both kind of frequencies, less than cumulative frequency and more than cumulative frequency. So here let me add two columns. First column is for less than cumulative frequency and second is for more than cumulative frequency. Okay, so for less than cumulative frequency, upper limit of the class is considered. That means what you write here, you write how many values are there which are less than 10. Similarly, here you write how many values are there which are less than 15. So for less than cumulative frequency, upper limit is always considered. Okay, so now anyway we know that these 7 values are between 5 and 10 where 10 is excluded. So all 7 values are less than 10. Now for how many values are there less than 15? So previous 7 value and these 12 values altogether 19 values are there which are less than 15. Similarly you have to go on adding. So for 20, how many values are there which are less than 20? So this class plus previous two classes. So that is 19 plus 18, 37. And then cumulative frequency less than 25 is 37 plus 8 is 45. And then less than 30 is 50. So you start with the first frequency here and end with the total frequency here, which should always match. So this way you will calculate the less than cumulative frequencies. Now in the similar way you have to calculate the more than cumulative frequency. So for more than cumulative frequency, lower limit is considered. Now how many values are there which are more than or equal to 5? So for more than cumulative frequency it is considered as or equal to as well. So how many values are there which are more than or equal to 5? So these 7 values are definitely either equal to 5 or more than 5. Similarly these next 12 values are more than 5. Similarly next 18, 8, 5. Actually all together all the values are 5 or more than 5. So here you start with the total itself. So more than cumulative frequency is considered with the lowers. So now how many values are there which are more than 10? So in this case how will you calculate this? So now the values which are less than 10 has to be subtracted from the previous value. Okay, so now 50 is the total given. So from this 50 you have to subtract the values which are less than 10. So which are the values which are less than 10 are 7. So 50 minus 7, 43 values are there which are less than 50. Okay, the next thing, no, which are more than 50, more than 10. Okay, then the next thing, you have to find the cumulative frequency for 15 to 20. How many values are there which are more than 15? So the values which are less than 15 has to be subtracted. So again 43 values are there which are more than 10 and less than 15 as well. So 43 minus this value will give you the values which are more than 15. So this gives you 31. Okay, then the next thing, 31 minus 18 will give you the more than cumulative frequency for the next class. So 31 minus 18. 13. Okay, and then 13 minus 8 will give you the more than cumulative frequency for the next class. So 13 minus 8 is 5. So in the more than cumulative frequency, you always start with the total, and total has to be same everywhere, and you end up with the last class frequency. And in the less than cumulative frequency, you start with the first class frequency, which is same. So these all three things, first frequency, last frequency, and total, these all three things has to be tallied. Then only you can say your cumulative frequency distribution is correct. Okay, so now what do you understand from this kind of values, cumulative frequency? Now look at the second value, 19 and 43. So what do you mean by 19 here? There are 19 values which are less than 15, and there are 43 values which are more than or equal to 15. Okay, similarly there are 37 values which are less than 20, and there are 31 values which are more than or equal to 15. So for any one particular given limit, you can find out how many values are there less than that one particular limit in the total distribution, and how many are more than. Now if you consider on any one number every time, now for example if you want to consider 15, okay, so how many values are there which are less than 15? 19. And how many values are there which are more than 15 is 31. So 19 plus 31 gives the total values. You take any other pair. So for example 25. How many values are there which are less than 25? There are 45. And how many values are there which are more than 45? So 25 are 5. So 45 plus 5, 50. So this way it tallies for any diagonal summation is always will give you the total of all the frequencies. Alright. So that's all for this video.